And we're back for more daily college basketball best bets. Today is December 6th, and we have more of our 5 best bets, of course, coming to you daily here on the channel. Yesterday, not a bad day, 3-2. St. Louis is abysmal, so that's my fault on that one. They were even worse than San Francisco was, and you know what? Penn State beats Purdue. You take those losses sometimes. It sucks, but we did hit on our other 3. The early plays, Detroit Mercy wins straight out. Southern Miss blows out. God, who are they playing? Southern Miss blows out. Alabama State early in the day. They were behind in the first half. They were behind by 6 or 5 at the end of the first half, and they really pulled away in the second half. And then Houston Christian won fairly easily as well. So 3-2 day yesterday. Not a bad day, not a great day, but a good day. Looking for more of the same, or looking for better, I would say, today here on the channel. And folks, if you have not yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Later today, we will have our NBA predictions on the channel, and as well as our 20,000 subscriber special video. And make sure to, again, follow us on Instagram, the link down below, and again, watch the 20,000 subscriber special video to figure out how to enter our giveaway we're going to be hosting again for hitting 20,000 subscribers. Also on the channel, our NFL predictions. We hit on the Detroit Lions yesterday. Our college football predictions are out as well, and I do have a bet I really like on the college football slate today, and I'll be honest with you, I'll just say it right now. It's Western Kentucky. I love Western Kentucky on the money line. I like them on the spread. We are all in on the Hilltoppers today. That's one of my favorite picks today, honestly, considering the college basketball slate today. We found some plays, but it's something today. It is something. Also, our UFC 310 predictions are on the channel as well. Alexandre Pantoja, Kaya Sakura, UFC Flyweight Championship on the line. Again, that's on Saturday, so make sure to check out that video if you have not yet. Okay, on to our college basketball predictions. We start things off here in Bloomington, Indiana. Now, it's no secret, I'm a big Indiana football guy. Indiana basketball, it is not the same. Trust me, I am not going to glaze Indiana basketball like I do Indiana football. That's probably the wrong way to put it. I'm not the fan of Indiana basketball that I am of Indiana football. Just simply put, the Hoosiers aren't great. I don't like what Mike Woodson does with this basketball team, I'll be honest. Trust me, I went to every game at Assembly Hall last year. They're better this year, I think, but I don't know, honestly. Again, I've been saying it. We are going to fade Indiana every chance we get in Big Ten play. And we are going to fade Minnesota every chance we get in Big Ten play. And who happens to play each other their first Big Ten game for Indiana? Play Minnesota. Regardless of if it's a best bet or not, we are going to go over Indiana versus Minnesota on Monday. Because, it is the battle of the crap in the Big Ten. I don't care Indiana's 6-2. We are going to fade this team all year long. But you know what? We're probably going to hammer them against Minnesota. Because Minnesota, they are even worse. Regardless, Indiana takes on Miami of Ohio here. All right, so we came off again picking Miami of Ohio on Monday. We were successful in our pick of Miami, Ohio. I think it was -5.5, -4.5 at home in Oxford against the Air Force, and we got a huge scoring night in that game. We got 42 points out of Peter Suter, and no one else on that Miami of Ohio RedHawks team scored more than 10 points, okay? It was all Peter Suter, but 42 points. He was 17 from 21 from the field, 3 for 4 from beyond the arc, 5 for 9 from the free throw line. It was enough to propel Miami of Ohio to victory. The next leading scorer was Ian Elmer, who scored 9 points and played 35 minutes. Peter Suter is a dog, and him alone should be able to keep Miami of Ohio in this basketball game. Guys, we get plus 18.5 here for the RedHawks. A team that, again, we took earlier this week against the Air Force. We like this Miami of Ohio squad. I get it. They went to Ann Arbor this year and lost at Michigan, but Michigan's better than Indiana. I'm not afraid to say that this season. I do think Michigan's the much better team, obviously beating Wisconsin, of course, earlier this week. They beat Xavier, right? I think, again, this Michigan team is better than what Indiana's got this season, so I'm not really too concerned about Miami of Ohio going in there and not playing all that well. And the thing is, Suter's really found his own recently. Obviously, the 42 points in the win over Air Force, but he led their team in scoring in their win a couple games ago, 2 games ago against Mercer. And don't look now, the RedHawks are on a 3-game winning streak, right? Wins over Siena, Mercer, and Air Force. They beat App State at the start of the season, lost to Wright State, beat Maryland, Eastern Shore, and then lost to the Michigan Wolverines. But again, obviously, Suter's the leading scorer. You got Cam Kraft as well. But again, Ian Elmer, I would consider the number 2 on this team. For the Indiana Hoosiers, we've talked about the Hoosiers a lot on the channel. Again, it's inconsistency. That's all it is. Some nights Mbako's great. Some nights Malik Renew's really good. Some nights it's Miles Rice. Some nights it's Omar Ballo. The odds that all these guys get clicking at the same time, though, for Indiana is low. And yet Trey Galloway is still around. I mean, what is, like, can Trey Galloway find a job? Respectfully. Because, again, it's more than a respect thing. Because, again, shout out to him. He's playing collegiate basketball D1. But respectfully, can Trey Galloway get a job? He's been around for so long, dude. Like, he was a senior last year, but he's back again. I think 18.5 is just too much. I think, again, considering the way Miami of Ohio plays and the way the Hoosiers play, I get it. They just blew out Sam Houston, and they beat Providence by 16 points. I don't care. Guys, Indiana doesn't really show up in these games. There was a game last year they played Wright State, okay? It was a game I was at last year in Bloomington, and it was a game where they just let Wright State hang around. I feel like it's going to be one of these again against Miami of Ohio. Wright State had a guy on their team. He was absolutely balling. It was, I think it was Tanner Holden. Tanner Holden, senior last year, obviously done playing college hoops. I don't know if he's still playing basketball somewhere. We can look up Tanner Holden, but I think he's just done. Yeah. But this dude was an absolute monster for Wright State in that basketball game. I'm not saying he plays exactly like Suter, but I feel like Suter's going to have one of those nights like Tanner Holden had against Indiana. Holden, went 8 for 17 from the field, had 24 points, was getting to the rack relentlessly, and also Andrew Wellage was doing really well for Wright State that night as well. Had 25 points, actually led them in scoring, 7 for 10 from the three-point line that night for Wellage. He's back with Wright State this season. He randomly just had a really good game against Indiana and did not do anything the rest of the season, which is odd. But regardless, Indiana does keep teams like this in games very often. Again, I saw this last year in the Wright State game. Obviously, again, Indiana was just bad last season. There's no other way around it. They got better as the season went on. And I will admit, the Hoosiers are better this year, but I do think the Miami of Ohio RedHawks are able to stay in this basketball game off the backs of Suter. Again, 42 points in his last one. Miami of Ohio is playing with some momentum, and I do think they go into Bloomington, and I think they cover against the Indiana Hoosiers. Next up, we move on to... Yep, this is what we've got going today. Sacred Heart versus Iona. Guys, there's not many games on Fridays for college basketball. It's usually not, again, because big slates obviously on Saturday, because everyone, seems to play on Saturdays. So we're making the most of what we got here on Fridays. Sacred Heart versus Iona is our next one. And we are taking the home team. We are taking the Sacred Heart Pioneers. All right. Even line on both sides. I do like Sacred Heart, not just because they're at home, it's because they're playing with some momentum. All right, this is a team that started the year 0-4, losses to Temple, UConn, Dartmouth, Holy Cross, all right, and then 3-4 in their last 4 games. They've won 3-4, a win over New Hampshire, a loss at Brown, but Brown, one of the better Ivy schools, a win over Central Connecticut, and a win on the road at Boston University. For their opponents, the Iona Gales, they are 2-7 this season, wins over Vermont and Tarleton State, but losses to Princeton, Hofstra, Delaware, West Virginia, Cornell, Indiana State, and Rice. I will give Iona something. They've stayed in all these basketball games. Every single game Iona has played this season has been relatively close, which you can't really say the same thing about Sacred Heart, but Sacred Heart's been playing, the teams that, they should be competitive with close, right? They played Holy Cross fairly close. They played Dartmouth fairly close. The only teams that they got blown out by this season are Brown and UConn. Temple, kind of got away from them. I don't know. Iona's 2-7. Sacred Heart is 3-5. But you know what? This is kind of like our Houston Christian game yesterday, right? You get 2 lower level teams, but 2 teams that, I think, again, Sacred Heart is the better team. And this is what we saw yesterday with Houston Christian. This is why we picked Houston Christian to win the game. We thought they were the better team, and on top of that, we got them at home. Same thing here. I think Sacred Heart's the better team when you compare them and Iona. And again, I like that we get this team at home as well. Okay? They got Amiri Stewart. They got Anquan Hill. They got Tanner Thomas. Again, I'll be honest with you guys, none of these guys are going to blow you away. And on the side of Iona, too, is DeJour Reeves, who's going to average 15 points tonight. But other than Reeves, no one else in this Iona Gales team is going to wow you, which it is what it is. You're going to get these collegiate teams that are like that. But again, I think Sacred Heart is the all-around better squad. Iona's got some players, sure, but Sacred Heart has a deeper bench. They have more guys in the starting lineup who I think can make an impact, and we are going to take Sacred Heart to win this basketball game. Again, we got to talk about momentum, and we talk about home court advantage. Sacred Heart's at home, line's even, we like that. We like that they're playing with momentum as well. Wins over Central Connecticut, which I understand is not a huge win. Boston University, it's not a big win either. I completely understand that. They're 3-5. They are, the lowest of lows, I would say, in the Patriot League, other than maybe Colgate. I would say the season's been worse than Boston University. I understand that, sure. How they lost to Northeastern this season. But Sacred Heart, again, going on the road and winning that game by 8 does mean something. They've shown capability of winning these games. And honestly, again, I think they're the deeper team when you compare them and Iona. Iona's been nothing special this season. Sacred Heart's 3-5. Yeah, Iona's 2-7. But we are going with the team at home with the better record who's playing with more momentum. Give me the Sacred Heart Pioneers to win at home against the Iona Gales. Next up, we move on to Georgia State versus Kennesaw State. We go to some conference action here in the CUSA. Kennesaw's been okay this season. I'll give them that. Kennesaw's been actually really good this year. They're 6-3. They had a huge win where they beat Rutgers of all teams. Yes, they beat a ranked squad in Rutgers. Was that game at Kennesaw? Rutgers went to Kennesaw to play that game? They did? I kind of forgot about that. Rutgers goes to Kennesaw and Kennesaw beats them. Again, unexpected, sure, but Kennesaw with the biggest win of their year and probably the biggest win all season for the Kennesaw State Owls. Since then, they lose to UC Irvine, but the Anteaters are a really good squad. We've been on UC Irvine quite a bit this season. I think, again, they're the favorites by far to win the Big West this year, as long as they don't collapse, again, like they did in the Big West tournament last year and let Long Beach State win the entire thing. Kennesaw beat Townsend, but it took them till overtime to do so, and they're coming off a loss to Kent State in their last game, but, we think very highly of the Golden Flashes of Kent State. I think, again, Kent State will probably win the Mid-American Conference this season. Miami of Ohio is not bad either in all fairness. Again, the team we talked about earlier, but I do like Kent State a lot in that conference. Kennesaw's wins. Toccoa Falls. Where is that? I don't know. Bryan, Tennessee. These are NIAAs, so it's the reason I don't know these. Their loss to Cal Baptist isn't great. I get it. Kennesaw's going all the way from Georgia to California to, Riverside, California to play Cal Baptist, but Cal Baptist is nothing special. Trust me, I've watched them this season. They beat Albanine Christian. The one win that does stick out, I will be honest, is the Rutgers game. That one definitely sticks out. But you get them against Georgia State in this game. We've taken Georgia State once this season. Actually, did we take them twice? I know for a fact we took them in the Jacksonville State game. That was a game where Georgia State had to lead the entire game. I watched the entire thing, and at the very end, they kind of just let it slip away. Jacksonville State made a huge comeback, and obviously Jacksonville State is banned here on the channel. If you have not seen our ban list, here it is. Jacksonville State, the Gamecocks basketball team is right here. I'm very close, by the way. I know this is not an NBA video. I'm so close to putting the Houston Rockets on this list. I mean, one more time the Rockets lose me my American currency, loses me one more time where the Houston Rockets lose me the American dollar, I am putting them on this list. I cannot stand the Houston Rockets. I don't know how they're the 2 seed in the Western Conference. It makes absolutely no sense to me. It's blasphemous that they are that high. I think I used that word right. I hope I did. Anyways, Georgia State, again, we picked them once before the season. It was against Jacksonville State. Winning the entire game, Jack State came back and ended up taking the lead late in the game, started pulling away, played the free throw game. Georgia State barely survived. It took a missed free throw at the end of the game for them to cover the 5.5 points we had against Jack State on the road. I don't think Georgia State's that bad of a team, though. I didn't watch the Austin PA game, I'll be honest. But again, they lost by 12 points. I saw them against Tulsa. They won. They looked good in that one. Rebounded well in that game after losing to Austin PA, and lost their last game to Kentucky. Obviously, again, that's expected. But I do like Zachary Nutter. That's his name. I think Zachary Nutter is a good player. Averaging 17.5 points this season. He is by far their best scorer. He's their best player as a whole. 6'7" forward. He is in his senior season. He was good last year as well. He's been good every single year he's played collegiate ball. Was good at Northern Illinois the last 2 seasons. Averaged 12.5 and 15.5 respectively. And now, again, he's averaging 17.5 here at Georgia State. So I think Nutter is going to make a huge difference in this basketball game. Tenari Lane's a pretty good player as well, averaging 14.5 points. Kennesaw State does have Caudle, who's going to be averaging 16, Adrian Woolley averaging 14.5 as well. Don't get me wrong, I think this is a really competitive basketball game. I really think it is. But I think, again, with this game being at Georgia State, it's a conference game, but I think with it being, again, a game that is at Georgia State, I do think the Panthers win this one. Another game where I feel like it's really evenly matched. Oh, God, wait, Georgia State's in the Sun Belt. That's my fault. That is my fault. Why did I think Georgia State was in the CUSA? I apologize. I apologize greatly. I should know better. That's bad. Wait. Has Georgia State always been in the Sun Belt? All right, guys, we're gonna do some Georgia State school history here. Okay. We're doing Georgia State school history because I butchered this. Oh, God, wrong thing. Here we go. Georgia State University. We're gonna go Georgia State University Athletics. We're gonna make this into a segment. Have they not been in the CUSA before? They've always been in the Sun Belt? They've always been in the Sun Belt. Oh, that's really bad. That's really bad. Wow. Oh, I should know better. They beat Vandy this year, but I could have sworn they were in the CUSA. That's crazy. That's bad. I apologize. Regardless, again, conference game or not, though, that doesn't change the fact that Georgia State should win this basketball game. It really doesn't. Again, Kennesaw, I get it. They've got players, but I do think Georgia State, I think Nutter's a really solid guy. Nick McMullen, I think, is going to make an impact on the glass as well. He's their power forward / center. He's going to average 10 rebounds a game. He's also going to put up 10 points a game, averaging basically a double-double, playing 32 minutes a night. I think, again, he's going to make an impact in this game, and I do like the Panthers at home in this one over the Kennesaw State Owls. Let's move on to our next game as we go on to a team that is banned, so we're not taking them. We are fading, and this is what happens when you put a team on the ban list. You fade them as much as possible. We are giving the High Point Panthers the doom, and we're going to North Texas. Okay, again, I am ripping, or I'm, doing the Costco guys thing, just because they literally did a video at High Point University. I don't know how I came across that, but they literally went to a dining hall at High Point University and started saying how great the food was there. Okay. But we are giving the doom to High Point University because we're taking the North Texas Mean Green. Guys, I don't care. High Point, I watched that UNC Greensboro game. Disgusting. Had that game. Had it. I don't remember the exact stat I read off the other day. I probably have it written down here. I'll read it off. I was watching the game and I had to write this down because I was disgusted. So, where is it? Did I not write this down? Yes. Maybe I didn't. Oh, here we go. Basically, yeah, High Point scored 3 points in the first 7 minutes of the second half in that basketball game. They scored 38 in the first half. They scored 3 points in the first 7-8 minutes. They then responded and scored 27 in the last 13, but I don't care. It was actually abysmal. If your team can go on that big of a shooting slump for 7 to 8 minutes, I cannot rely on you to win basketball games. I can't. I don't think High Point's that horrible, but I think when you match them up with a team like North Texas, they're going to be in trouble. Don't get me wrong. High Point's not an auto like, oh, every time we see High Point, we're going to fade them. No, they're just banned that I'm just not going to bet on them personally. Now, I can always take a team off that, but I'm not going to go out my way to tell you to bet on High Point University. I think North Texas, though, can go to High Point and win this basketball game. Again, watching High Point, there is no one who really, who's like, oh my God, look at this guy. There's really not. Kamani Hamilton is one of their better guys. I would say he doesn't play as many minutes as Giffa, who averages, I think, 15, 14 points, put up 11 points in their loss against UNC Greensboro. Juselin Bodo is the announcers said this in the game against UNC Greensboro, and it's fair. He's a very raw player. He is a 7-foot sophomore from Cameroon. I only think he's going to get better. He is just a very athletic guy who I think is new to the game of basketball, I'll be honest. But again, his size, that's why he's there. For North Texas, and again, Bodo, he's good at putbacks, he can get boards, but technically sound, he's not the best player. North Texas, I think it's a great buy low spot here on North Texas. They're coming off a loss to Utah State, but again, you know how rigorous the Mountain West is sometimes, and that's not a bad loss, losing a tournament game, obviously, to Utah State, because before that, they beat UNI. I don't think Northern Iowa was the best, but they went out there and won the game. Beat Oregon State, who, again, they won a low-scoring game against the Beavs. It is what it is. We've bet on North Texas, though, earlier this season, right? We picked them in the Northern Iowa game. We picked them in the picked against them in the Minnesota game, but we picked them in the UNI game. I don't think this North Texas team's all that bad. They find ways to win. They can play that low-scoring game. They can go out there and win it. We like Aiden Wright, who's averaging 14 points. I'll be honest, again, past Aiden Wright, this team isn't incredible. Jasper Floyd's averaging 9 points a game. Jonathan Massey's going to give you 9 points a game. It's just the Mean Green find ways to win. They play great defense. They win those low-scoring affairs. And again, everything considered about how High Point played their last game against UNC Greensboro, I feel great taking the Mean Green in a somewhat low-scoring game because, again, that's how the Mean Green and that's how North Texas wins basketball games. So I don't feel great picking the High Point. That's obviously why we are fading them here. Give me the Mean Green of North Texas to go on the road to High Point University and give High Point University the doom. Give me North Texas to go on the road, win, and cover the 2.5 points. We go on to our final game of the video, and we go on to Evanston? Yes, Evanston, Illinois. We've got the Northwestern Wildcats and the Illinois Fighting Illini. Have I learned my lesson to not pick road teams early in Big Ten play? No, because we're taking Illinois. Hell, hey, we picked Michigan State to go to Minnesota, and it worked out for us. Okay, Purdue went to Penn State. They looked horrible. Sure, Purdue's not the team I thought they were, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. I'm taking Illinois to go to Northwestern and win. Yeah, I am. They're favorites. They're getting, what, 3.5 points. I feel okay about the Fighting Illini in this basketball game. I do. And I know what you're thinking. Northwestern last year, first game of Big Ten play. They got the #1 team in the country, and they beat Zach Edey and Purdue. I get it. But you know what? Their first game in Big Ten play is already gone. They lost to the Hawkeyes by 1 point, but still. Northwestern's got scores. I know. They got Brooks. They got Martinelli. They've got guys. Martinelli can really shoot it, shooting 60% beyond the arc this season, averaging 20 points a game. Brooks is averaging 20 as well. I get it. I just think Illinois is the better squad. We've seen Illinois play really good teams this season and come out on top. We have. We've seen Will Riley. We've seen Tomislav play really well this year. Back-to-back performances out of Kasparis Jakunius, and the win over Arkansas, 23 points out of him. The win over Little Rock, 21 points. And Illinois has been beating teams down. Now the loss to Alabama, I don't think it's aging great because Alabama lost to Oregon, but losing to Oregon's not that bad. Actually, no, Bama beat North Carolina. What am I saying? The Bama loss to Oregon did suck. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they were gonna win that game, but Oregon's proven how good they are. They, went to USC. I get beating USC is not the greatest accomplishment, but down by 8 at halftime, ended up winning the game the other night at USC. Big victory for the Ducks. It kind of shows how bad the USC Trojans are, but I don't mind Illinois at all this season. I don't. I think they've got guys. Again, the Arkansas win's huge. The Bama loss, it is what it is. Yes, they are relatively unproven. And at the same time, though, who has Northwestern beat this season? They're a 6-3 team who has lost to Illinois. They lost to Butler. They lost to Dayton. Sure, that was on the road, but who are their wins? The UNLV win, that's a good win. But other than that, Pepperdine, Montana State, East Illinois, UIC, and then Lee. Okay, they beat a squad from the Patriot League. Don't get me wrong. I like Martinelli. I think he's an absolute baller. But I just think Illinois has got the better squad. And also, Boo Booey's gone. They're going into Big Ten play without Boo Buie, who was a monumental piece of that team last season. Trust me, Boo Buie did everything for Northwestern. I know, again, it's the new season. They've been playing all year without him, but still, I'm taking Illinois. I'm taking the Fighting Illini to go on the road and win this basketball game. Eventually, a road team has to pick up a huge victory in the Big Ten. So, we're taking the better team. Illinois is the better squad. It's just a matter of if they have to go on the road. Same state. Easy trip over. Illinois goes into Northwestern and wins the basketball game. They do not allow Northwestern to pull off the big upset against them like they did last year against the Boilermakers. Give me Illinois, the Fighting Illini, to come through on the road in Evanston against the Northwestern Wildcats. And folks, thank y'all for watching our 5 best bets for college basketball here on December 6th. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.